It's time for our Saturday night's main event predictions. We got 4 matches on the card, and the obvious big one is going to be John Cena's final match, his retirement match against Gunther. I like Gunther. Now, personally, I wish that Cena's retirement was going to be at a big pay-per-view, PLE, like a WrestleMania, or something just larger than having it on Saturday night's main event on Peacock. Not really what I was hoping for, but nonetheless, here we are. What I do like about the show is they're doing more exhibition matches, mostly because it highlights NXT stars and maybe some of them will go over. So the first match, let's look at Bayley versus Sol Ruca. Bayley is in her whole tag thing with Lyra right now. Bayley, I think, is a great person for Sol Ruca to go up against one-on-one from the main roster that can kind of put her over. My main pick is going to be Sol Ruca wins and she beats Bayley. I don't think there's any interference, nothing else. I think that Bayley can eat the loss because where she is in the pecking order of her main roster story, it doesn't really impact her. Like, she just moves on to the next week and she's back with Lyra and they're tagging, they're doing their things on Raw. But it can do so much for Sol Ruca. Her matches that when she's been showcased on SmackDown, and obviously all of her work in NXT, she is clearly being pegged to get up to main roster. And I wonder if this is, like the other people that are being showcased on the show, if this is a way to really highlight them and see if they can hang. Sol Ruca's very impressive. I think she's a ton of fun. I want to see her go over in this. Just shake hands with Bayley at the very end. She's going to be my pick, ladies and gentlemen, to win. The World Tag Team titles are on the line. Apparently. AJ Styles and Dragon Styles, they're going up against Javon Evans and Leon Slater. Kind of like all the matches that I think are happening on this show, I feel they are going to just be bangers. I want Dragon Lee and Styles to do the springboard kick into the Styles Clash like they did on Raw. I hope that that is the finish of the match. I think Slater eats the pin because Javon Evans, clearly with WWE, like what he's had for his matches recently and the tournament match he had, I think he's one of the standout guys they want to have in 2026. I hope Javon Evans just gets up to main roster. Like, let's go. But since the titles are on the line, I'm not seeing AJ and Dragon Lee dropping those things. They literally just had on Raw the New Day and the Usos, who reunited for tag team division. They're all going after the belts. So you can't just have, this is the one problem amongst many probably for you, but the one problem with WWE is the consistency and coherent, logical storytelling. You go from Raw, where you're going to have your 3 tag teams in the ring, and they all want to go after the belts. And then you're just going to do an exhibition match with the titles on the line against guys that are in NXT/TNA. Great, but you clearly have this whole story planned. So anyways, I'm going to say Dragon Lee and AJ Styles retain the titles. Again, exhibition, shake hands at the end, good match for everybody. Javon Evans, I hope, has his big standout moments. Do some big combination moves and flips and dives with Dragon Lee, and that would be pretty entertaining. Then we've got Cody effing Rhodes going up against Obafemi, undisputed champion versus NXT champion. It's going to be good. And I'm so happy for Obafemi to get the opportunity to go and have a big showcase match like this. With this match, I see a couple of things happening. Number one, I do really hope that this is a big breakout moment for Obafemi. All eyes are on this show because of Cena's retirement. So if you want to make somebody and elevate them, heighten their awareness with your more general audience, because not everybody watches NXT. They may not be familiar or only a little familiar with Obafemi's work. You put him in there with Cody, people are going to tune in not only for Cena, obviously, but they see names like Cody Rhodes on the show. That might also entice them to flip the channel, so to speak, with streaming and go over to the Peacock and be able to watch the match with Cody. That's why I think Obafemi, he's going to have a pretty big moment in that match. Do I see him winning? Not really, but they could do it. I'm kind of split on it, but what do you think? Because I think if you did have Obafemi beat Cody Rhodes, the poster boy for the company, you create a main event star. You can have a Cena, Kevin Owens type of moment. Shock everybody where Cody doesn't get the victory. But Obafemi's still so tied with NXT. He's the NXT champion. And I have a really hard time believing that WWE would have Cody, their big Ultra champion, lose anything. He's beaten Drew McIntyre over and over and over again. I just never see Cody losing until it's like WrestleMania. But speaking of Drew McIntyre, that is the one element in this I think they could leverage. They have this continued story of Drew and Cody. And Cody on SmackDown telling Nick Aldis to reinstate Drew because he wants him. He wants to fight him and beat him and destroy him. I think because their rivalry is going on for the end of the year, maybe even goes all the way to the Rumble for Drew and Cody in a final battle, I think Drew McIntyre shows up. I think he gets involved and he claymores Cody. Please, WWE, do not put Drew McIntyre in a hoodie. Do not do a claymore and a move and it's revealed to be Drew McIntyre. Drew, I could see sliding in there and claymore Cody with a ref bump distraction, and Obafemi power bombs Cody and ends the thing. And Obafemi, that's how he gets the victory. It's not clean, and maybe Obafemi's not happy about it because Drew got involved. But it gives your NXT champion a win over Cody Rhodes, which you gotta add that to his resume, it'd be pretty cool. And it furthers the Drew Cody story. Very split on it, but I am gonna say Cody retains. He's the big champion of the show. In your main event, John Cena versus Gunther, John Cena's retirement match. And I think throughout this whole show, it's going to be it's 2 hours, and it's going to be just all John Cena hype videos, promotion, throwbacks, interviews. I think they will just do this whole thing all John Cena, as they should. Now, am I upset that Gunther is the final opponent? Not really, because it is what it is. Cena's retiring one way or another. And Cena even said in an interview, and it might have been Joe Rogan or it was a different one, but he's doing a ton of them. He did say that people will forget. They'll forget about him a week after. He retires, it's over, they move on to the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, that's it. And people won't care. I will care. But I get what he's saying. He won't be the talk of the town anymore. And so I don't know how much stock we have to put into who retires Cena, because they'll kind of forget about Cena right after. I think it's still in a memorable spot or position to be in if you are Gunther. You get to have that accolade next to your name. It's what do they do with Gunther after this, assuming he wins? So that's the question mark. Does Gunther win? How does he win? And does Cena actually end up winning himself and just retires on top? By all accounts, it seems to be that it's whatever WWE TKO want to do. If they want Cena to win in his final match, then it seems like with Cena's attitude and how he talks in interviews, he kind of just goes with the flow. And if the company wants that, then that's what they do. But I don't see Cena winning this thing. One thing I wish they did, though, they didn't give us a proper promo between Cena and Gunther. I know Cena only had the limited dates, but it would have been, I think, good foreshadowing if they tried to add a date or even surprise fans with an appearance to have one final promo from John that he shows up on Raw and he goes face to face with Gunther and try and build the match within one 10-minute segment. If Gunther's going to win, his whole thing on Raw and his promo was, getting him to tap out. He's going to get him to say, I quit. John Cena's entire shtick is never give up. So does he give up? If he taps out, and it's John Cena fully giving up, right? And maybe that's the way they want to do the retirement. He finally taps out. Now, to be fair, Cena has tapped out in his career to other people. Some of the narrative is like, oh, no one's ever made him tap. No, he has tapped out. But this is the biggest, most memorable time to do it. If he doesn't tap out, I can see Gunther making him pass out. Gunther annihilates him in the very end. There's attitude adjustments, all this stuff. Gunther hits him with power bombs and splashes and more power bombs and endless chops. Just like Gunther does, he'll power bomb a guy and then roll them through and do another power bomb. I can see him just trying to obliterate Cena in the end and then throwing on a submission, and he makes Cena pass out. That way you hold on to Cena. You get him where he's not giving up. He passes out, sure, the match is over, and Gunther gets the actual victory. But Cena, as his character, he can hold on to the fact that he never tapped out. He never quit. He held on to the very end. He just passed out. And I think that's more, if it's me, that's the most likely scenario. It creates a ton of drama in the match, and I think that that's what they will do, is you will tell an amazing story between these two guys, and having those near falls and near moments where Cena could tap out or give up and he doesn't. And they keep it going and going and going. I think there'll be tons of hope spots for Cena to win and beat Gunther, for it to end with a pass out. That's how I'd do it if I was booking the thing, but I'm not doing that. The other question I have for you, is how have you felt about Cena's entire final run? Has it worked for you, brother? We've had the kind of ebbs and flows, haven't we? And I'll probably want to do like a full video review of Cena's final run, probably like everybody on YouTube will do. But I wonder how people will take to Cena's retirement run. Will we look back very fondly of it? I think the later half of when he became babyface, I think for the most part worked. I don't like the face turn. I think that moment was poorly executed. The heel turn, while shocking and, you know, a huge moment for WWE and Cena going heel, I think that as we've looked through, and Cena has talked about this in interviews, it just very much seemed like we need to pop a rating and tickets for Elimination Chamber. So they shocked everybody with a Cena turn, and that was kind of it. And it did peter out. Travis Scott exited. The Rock wasn't around. Left a lot to be desired, but a lot of fun matches. So I just wonder how it's all going to be looked back on. Are people going to be very fond of Cena's final run? Do they want more dates? Was it enough? All those types of things. But Gunther's going to win. I think he rolls out of the ring and Cena does his whole farewell. Drop your predictions for Saturday's main event below. And if you guys can, hit the subscribe button. Goes a long way to help us grow to our 50K goal. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. See ya.